but you quickly know that this probably isn't where I should be right now, right?
It's so good when a game does let you do that. Elden Ring lets you do that. Dude, if you guys play the game, do you know that entire like underground world?
The modern MMORPG is a very on-rails
Yes.
linear experience.
Yes.
It's not a lot of question asking by the
Nope.
player. It's a whole bunch of hand holding, and it's a whole
Bunch of hand holdings and following arrows and question marks, man. It's honestly sad what it's become.
bunch of linear, very overt direction and progression. So you're always kind of going where you need to go. You're always kind of doing what you need to do. And not really a sense of the world opening up more because it's just packaged. There's no frontierism.
I think this is just a side effect of them wanting to appeal to wider audiences and more mainstream. Even though it typically leads to less fun, people want a more efficient game experience. Also, I think these games for a long time have lost the ability to make the leveling up process interesting at all or challenging at all, which makes it boring, which means you just want to like rush through it and get there. Whereas like the older games, it was challenging and you were like grouping up and doing difficult things and getting meaningful progression. Like you could get low level items that maybe you'd stick around with you until like level 50. That was happening, like, starting very, very, very early on in the levels.
I'm sure many of our listeners have played or have heard about Elden Ring.
Yeah.
And I think it's a fantastic, like experiential explanation of what I'm trying to describe here, which is you take a game that has a relatively accessible overworld. And that doesn't mean that you can take everything on your own by any means, but it means that you are able to traverse through a good portion of the overworld sections of the game, with care and caution, but you can do it. And that's what leads you
But every time you find a dungeon, or especially a legacy dungeon, you're probably going to get your shit pushed in. Is that what it's going to be? Sounds pretty good. Honestly, it's like music to my ears to even hear an MMO developer mention that they are wanting to like emulate some of Elden Ring open world design.
To the places that you discover, the dungeons, the vistas, the POIs, all the things that exist in this world, you can more freely move through the overland sections, again, with thought and with care to actually discover things.
Yeah, right. It's like you could move through, but like if you're not paying attention, there are things everywhere that will kill you all of a sudden, right? So you could traverse, but you can't like lazily not pay attention first, right? You couldn't just turn on auto run and have a good time.
Yeah, I love a couple things you talked about there is
Love it.
There's a big difference where there's games in this genre right now that don't allow you to go to places until you achieve X, right? That just kind of put the wall up and say you can't go here. When you're exploring, you don't get to those moments where you end up somewhere where you found a way to get there, but you quickly know that this probably isn't where I should be right now, right?
It's so good when a game does let you do that. Elden Ring lets you do that. Dude, if you guys play the game, do you know that entire like underground world? You can find that first well and get down there like super early in the game on accident. And you can quickly find out like I shouldn't be here, but holy crap, this place looks effing cool. I wonder when I'll come back and be able to kill this boss. It's really cool, and it sucks when games don't let you do that.
And you kind of get nervous, you get scared. You see something that's like, ooh, I'm turning around, right? And when you don't have the ability to do that free roam exploration in solo or in group, you miss out on those moments of excitement for what's to come. So I love that you touched on that a little bit and being able to kind of have some of that explorability.
I wonder if they'll do the other part also where they used to like to mix like really high level aggro, right? Like ready to attack mobs like in the middle, right, of a low level. It'd be like one pather, kind of roaming around or some shit. But it's just like this extra thing that you knew was there, and the whole time it said pay the fuck attention. That's basically all it was there for. Or it would create memories. Maybe you get surprised by it and you get killed, and then you get excited like for the day you're high enough level to be able to come back and whoop that thing's ass. I would love to hear your guys' opinions in the comments below. What do you think about these kinds of game design choices in MMOs? I personally really, really liked what these developers from Pantheon Rise of the Fallen were saying. Of course, they're just words until we see the game, but just it really hits home for me. A lot of the stuff that I particularly was specifically looking forward to, and there was a ton more. I'll put like the link to the full VOD in the description here. And a big thank you to the Patreon people and the YouTube members. Really appreciate you guys. And if you want to support the channel, maybe look into considering them. Really appreciate it. And I'll see y'all in the next video.